Part 1. The email I shouldn't have opened. Clapperboard strong hook, first 60 seconds. I shouldn't have opened that email. It arrived at 2:17 a.m. No subject line. No sender name. Just one attachment. And a single sentence in the body. You don't remember drowning, but the water remembers you. I almost deleted it. But then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Another message. A video file. Thumbnail was black, except for something faint in the corner. Ripples. Like water in the dark. I don't know why I opened it. I really don't. Because the moment I did, I heard the same sound from outside my bedroom window. Water. Moving. New moon symbol night atmosphere. It was storming that night. Heavy rain hitting the roof in uneven bursts. Wind scraping branches across the siding. The kind of storm that makes the house feel hollow. I live alone. Small rental house at the edge of town. Near Blackridge Lake. The realtor mentioned it casually when I moved in. Peaceful area. Quiet. Beautiful water views. She didn't mention the drownings. I didn't learn about those until later. The power flickered once. Twice. My bedside lamp dimmed. The video was still loading. The house was silent except for rain, and something else. A soft, irregular tapping. Like wet fingers on glass. I told myself it was branches. It had to be branches. Then the video started playing. Waterwave the video. It was dark. Grainy. Security camera quality. Timestamp in the corner. 3:12 a.m. The camera angle looked wrong. Low. Tilted. Pointed toward water. A dock. My dock. The one behind my house. The rain in the video matched the rain outside. My stomach tightened. Because I don't own security cameras. The video zoomed slightly. And I saw someone standing at the end of the dock. Facing the lake. Completely still. The camera glitched. Static lines. The figure twitched. Not moved. Twitched. Like a skipped frame. Then, the person slowly turned toward the camera. Toward me. Even through the distortion. I knew that silhouette. Same height. Same shoulders. Same hoodie I was wearing right now. It was me. Standing on the dock. At 3:12 a.m. Last night. I never left my house last night. The screen went black. And at that exact moment, I heard it again. Water. Closer this time. Not the lake. Outside my window. Psychological fear. Kia yersak hai, why meridimag? I whispered it out loud. Hearing my own voice made it worse. The tapping returned. 3 slow taps. Pause. 3 slow taps. Morse code. No. Just coincidence. I stood slowly and walked to the window. Every step felt loud. The floorboards creaked like they were warning me. The rain blurred the glass. I wiped a circle clear with my sleeve. Nothing. Just backyard darkness. The lake barely visible beyond the trees. Then lightning flashed. For less than a second. I saw someone standing knee-deep in the water. Right where the shoreline curves. Facing the house. Facing my window. The power cut out. Complete darkness. Fire normal life introduction. 3 weeks ago, my life was normal. I moved here after a breakup. Needed quiet. Needed distance. I work remote IT support. Night shifts sometimes. Sleep schedule already broken. The house was cheap because it had been vacant for months. Previous tenant left suddenly. Landlord said it was family reasons. I didn't question it. Big mistake. The first few nights were peaceful. Calm lake. Cold air. I even started sleeping better. Until I found the newspaper clipping. Newspaper the first strange event. It was tucked behind a loose panel in the hallway closet. Yellowed. Old. Headline read. Local teen drowns in Blackridge Lake. Body never recovered. Date. 2009. The article mentioned strange circumstances. Friend said he wasn't near the water that night. But security footage showed him walking into the lake alone. At 3:12 a.m. Same time as the video I just watched. My chest tightened. I checked the name. Daniel Harper. That name felt familiar. Too familiar. Because the email address that sent me the file? Daniel.H_09@. The rest was corrupted. My hands started shaking. That's when my phone buzzed again. Mobile phone disturbing message. Unknown number. He didn't leave the water. Another message immediately. Neither did you. I dropped the phone. My reflection in the black screen looked pale. Wrong. My hair looked wet. I touched it. Dry. But in the reflection, it was dripping. I turned the screen off. Turned it back on. Normal again. I told myself I was tired. Sleep deprived. Storm anxiety. Rational explanations. Always rational. Until I heard footsteps in the hallway. Headphone audio moment. Slow. Wet. Dragging. The sound of something heavy being pulled across wood. The power was still out. The only light came from occasional lightning through windows. I grabbed my phone flashlight. The hallway was empty. But the floor was damp. Thin trail of water. Leading from the back door. To my bedroom. My breathing became shallow. Because I locked that door. I always lock that door. The handle slowly turned. Just slightly. Then stopped. I whispered. Hello. Silence. Then a faint sound from outside. Like someone wading back into water. Water wave neighbor warning. The next morning, I didn't sleep. I went to my neighbor's house. Old man named Mr. Caldwell. Lives across the dirt road. He answered after a long pause. Looked tired. Like he hadn't slept either. You hear it too? He asked before I said anything. Hear what? The lake. I didn't respond. He stared at me for a long time. Then said quietly. They say it keeps the ones who step in after midnight. Cold chill down my spine. Drownings, he continued. Not accidents. It calls them. I forced a laugh. He didn't. 3 weeks, he said. That's how long it takes. I've been here 21 days. Exactly 3 weeks. Before leaving, he grabbed my wrist. His grip was surprisingly strong. If you see yourself near the water. He swallowed. Don't follow. New moon symbol repeated signs. That night, the power didn't flicker. No storm. Clear sky. Which made it worse. Because at exactly 3:12 a.m., my bedroom door opened slowly. On its own. No wind. No draft. Just a slow, deliberate creak. I sat frozen in bed. Heart pounding so loud it drowned everything else. And then I heard breathing. Not mine. From the hallway. Wet. Gurgling. Like lungs full of water. I couldn't move. Sleep paralysis. Maybe. But my phone vibrated beside me. Notification. Live video started. From unknown device. I opened it. It was my backyard again. Dock. Calm water. And someone standing there. This time. They were closer. I could see the face. My face. But pale. Eyes completely black. Mouth slightly open. Water pouring from it. The live video camera angle slowly tilted upward. Revealing it wasn't on a pole. It was being held. By someone standing behind the figure. And just before the feed cut. I saw a hand. Grey. Bloated. Resting on my shoulder. Skull major disturbing discovery. The next morning, I checked my backyard. Mud was disturbed. Footprints. 2 sets. One leading to the dock. One leading back. But the returning footprints were deeper. Like something heavier came back. I followed them. They stopped at my back door. Which was unlocked. I know I locked it. Inside. The hallway mirror was cracked. And written across it in water. Come back. Underneath. Another message forming slowly as droplets slid down the glass. You left me. My mind kept replaying the article. Daniel Harper. 3:12 a.m. Walked into water alone. Never recovered. But what if? He wasn't alone. Cliffhanger ending. That night, I set up my laptop facing my bedroom door. Recording. If something happened, I needed proof. 2:59 a.m. Nothing. 3:05 a.m. Still nothing. 3:11 a.m. The air grew cold. My breath visible. 3:12 a.m. The door slowly opened. I didn't move. Didn't blink. The hallway was dark. But something stepped into the doorway. Water dripping onto the carpet. I could hear it pooling. Slow. Steady. Then. It spoke. Not loud. Not whispering. Just, inside my head. You promised you wouldn't leave me in the lake. I couldn't breathe. Because the voice was mine. And behind it, another shape formed. Standing taller. Distorted. Watching us both. And then the figure in the doorway tilted its head and said, "Tonight, you remember." The lights shut off. And something grabbed my ankle from under the bed. Part 2. The hidden path to the water. My ankle was ice cold. Not cold like skin. Cold like something that had never been warm. The grip tightened. My body finally reacted. I kicked hard. Fell off the bed. Hit the floor. The lights snapped back on. Silence. No water. No figure. No voice. I scrambled backward, breathing fast, staring under the bed. Nothing. Dry carpet. Empty space. My laptop was still recording. Timestamp. 3:13 a.m. I replayed the footage with shaking hands. At 3:12, the door opened. But on camera, no one was there. The hallway was empty. No figure. No water. Just me, sitting up in bed, staring at nothing. Then suddenly, I was pulled. My body jerked violently toward the foot of the bed. But there was no hand visible. No shadow. Nothing. Just me being dragged halfway off the mattress by something unseen. The audio picked up something else. A second breathing. Wet. Right next to the microphone. I paused the video. Zoomed in on the doorway frame. That's when I saw it. For one single frame. A reflection. In the metal hinge of the door. A face behind me. Swollen. Waterlogged. Smiling. New moon symbol. The path I never noticed. I didn't sleep after that. At sunrise, I went outside. The dock looked normal. Calm lake. Soft morning mist hovering above the surface. Too peaceful. Like it was pretending. I walked past the dock, toward the tree line. That's when I noticed something I swear wasn't there before. A narrow opening between the trees. Branches bent inward. Like something large had been forcing its way through repeatedly. A path. Hidden. Leading away from my yard. Toward the deeper edge of the lake. The ground was damp. Not from rain. From pressure. Footprints again. 2 sets. One barefoot. One shoe. I looked down at my shoes. The tread matched. Exactly. My stomach dropped. I followed the path. Every step felt wrong. Like I was walking somewhere I had already been. The trees grew thicker. Blocking out the sun. The air colder. And then I saw it. A second dock. Old. Rotting. Half sunken into the water. This one wasn't maintained. It looked abandoned for years. There was something nailed to one of the posts. A faded photograph. I stepped closer. And nearly fell backward. It was me. Standing right here. On this exact dock. Smiling. But the date written on the bottom corner. August 12, 2009. 17 years ago. I was 8 years old in 2009. I had never been to this town before 3 weeks ago. I tore the photo down. On the back, written in faded ink. We both came back. Memory gaps. The deeper I stared at that old dock, the more something started shifting inside my head. Like trying to remember a dream. Flashes. Cold water. Hands pulling. Someone screaming. But it wasn't me screaming. It was someone else. And I was holding on to them. Or were they holding on to me? My head began pounding. I stepped back from the water's edge. The surface was perfectly still. Until I saw movement beneath it. A shape. Standing upright. underwater, looking up at me. The surface barely rippled, but I could see the outline clearly now. Same height, same build. Waiting. I stumbled backward, fell onto the dirt. When I looked again, the water was empty, but something had changed. The old dock boards were wet now, dripping, as if someone had just climbed out. Telephone receiver, the call from 2009. My phone rang as I rushed back toward the house. Unknown number again. I answered this time. Silence. Then faint static. Then, a voicemail began playing automatically. It wasn't live. It was recorded. A young voice. Panicked. I don't know what's happening. He won't let go. The water's pulling him down. Splashing sounds. Struggling. And then, Daniel. Stop pulling me. The call cut. I stopped walking. Daniel. The boy from the article. The drowning. Body never recovered. The voice in the recording. Sounded like me. But younger. Terrified. The timestamp on the voicemail file? August 12, 2009, 3:12 a.m. My knees nearly gave out. Because I remembered something. Not clearly, but enough. We used to visit this lake when I was a kid. Family road trip once. There was a boy I met here. Daniel. We snuck out one night. Went to the water. Dared each other to step in. Just ankle deep. But something grabbed him. He started panicking. I tried pulling him out. Or, did I push him? No, that's not right. Is it? Waterwave, the neighbor, tells the rest. I went back to Mr. Caldwell. This time, he looked scared to see me. You found it, didn't you? He asked. The second dock. His silence confirmed everything. That dock was torn down after 2009, he said quietly. Town ordered it removed. It's still there. No, he whispered. It isn't. I grabbed his arm. I have pictures. I showed him the photo on my phone. The old dock. The nailed photograph of me. He stared at it. Then at me. That dock burned down, he said slowly. The same week Daniel drowned. Cold air filled my lungs. Burned. Lightning strike during a storm. Whole thing collapsed. Lightning. Storm. 3:12 a.m. Same as my first night here. He stepped closer to me. Some folks say Daniel wasn't the only one who went under that night. I felt the world tilt. What do you mean? He swallowed. They say 2 boys went in. My heart stopped. But only one body was ever reported missing. Skull, the water remembers. That night, I didn't wait for 3:12. I went to the lake at 3 a.m. I don't know why. Maybe I needed answers. Maybe something was pulling me. The air was heavy. No wind. No insects. Just silence. The dock creaked as I stepped onto it. The water was black. Endless. I whispered. What happened that night? The surface trembled. Then, I saw it again. Underneath. 2 figures this time. One smaller. One struggling. Hands locked together. One trying to climb upward. The other pulling down. My head filled with images. Daniel screaming. Water rushing into his mouth. My hands gripping his shoulders. Not to save him, but to push him away. To free myself. Because something beneath us had grabbed my leg. And I panicked. I kicked him. Hard. He slipped from my grasp. And the thing below took him instead. I staggered back from the edge. No. But the water wasn't done. It rose slightly. Not flooding. Just lifting. Like it was breathing. And then I heard it again. Not from outside. From behind me. You left me there. I turned slowly. Standing at the end of the dock. Was Daniel. Or what was left of him. Skin pale blue. Eyes hollow. Clothes hanging heavy and soaked. Water dripping steadily onto the wood. But his mouth didn't move. The voice was still inside my head. You came back. He stepped closer. Boards bending under his weight. You promised you'd come back. I shook my head. I was a kid. The air grew colder. You were drowning too. He tilted his head. But I let go. Behind him, the water bulged upward. Something massive shifting beneath. Waiting. Daniel extended his hand. Come finish it. Cliffhanger ending. The lake surface split open. Not violently. Slowly. Like lips parting. And from the darkness below, a third shape began rising. Taller. Distorted. Not human. Limbs too long. Skin stretched thin and grey. Its fingers still wrapped around Daniel's ankle. Controlling him. Using him. The same hand that had grabbed me under my bed. The same presence from the video. Daniel's head snapped slightly to the side. Like a puppet. And his mouth finally opened. Water poured out as he spoke aloud for the first time. You were never supposed to survive. The thing behind him tightened its grip. And suddenly, something grabbed my other ankle from beneath the dock. Board splintered. My body dropped halfway through the wood. Cold water swallowing my legs. Hands everywhere. Pulling. Dragging me down. As Daniel whispered. 312. And the lake closed over my head. Part 3. The second body water wave 3:12 a.m. under the surface. Cold. That's the first thing I remember. Not pain. Not fear. Just pressure and cold wrapping around my skull like a tightening vice. The lake swallowed me whole. Water filled my ears. My nose. My mouth. I tried screaming but all that came out were bubbles drifting upward into darkness. Something was wrapped around my ankle. Not hands. Not tentacles. Something smoother. Like muscle without skin. It pulled me down fast. The dock above disappeared. The moonlight vanished. Everything turned black. Then, I hit something solid. Not the lake bed. Wood. Rotten wood. The second dock. The one that burned down. Except it wasn't burned. It was submerged. Preserved in the dark like a memory that refused to decay. My lungs burned. I thrashed. Kicked. Clawed at whatever held me. And that's when I saw them. Shapes. Standing upright in the water. Dozens of them. Still. Watching. Eyes open. Mouths slightly parted. Bodies floating vertically like they were planted in the lake bed. Not drifting. Not decaying. Preserved. Waiting. One of them turned its head toward me. Slowly. Daniel. His real body. Not the puppet version from the dock. His lips didn't move. But his eyes blinked. And in that moment, the thing holding me loosened. Just slightly. Enough for instinct to take over. I kicked hard. Harder than I ever have in my life. And I shot upward. Bursting through the surface. Gasping violently. Coughing lake water onto the dock. The night air hit my skin like knives. I crawled away from the edge. Shaking uncontrollably. Behind me. The water was calm again. Too calm. Like it hadn't just swallowed me whole. Was I ever out? I don't know how long I lay there. Seconds. Minutes. Maybe longer. When I finally looked at my phone. It read 3:12 a.m. Exactly. Not 3:13. Not 3:20. 3:12. Like time had reset. I stumbled back toward the house. Clothes soaked. Shoes squishing with every step. But something felt wrong. The air was quieter. No wind. No insects. No distant traffic. Just silence. The kind of silence that presses against your eardrums. I reached my back door. It was wide open. Inside. The house lights were on. Every single one. I don't remember turning them on. I stepped inside slowly. Water dripped from my sleeves onto the floor. But the hallway carpet was dry. Completely dry. No sign of the flood from earlier. No cracked mirror. No writing. I walked to my bedroom. The laptop was gone. Not closed. Not broken. Gone. And on my bed was a folded towel. Dry. Like someone expected me to need it. That's when I heard it. My own voice. From the living room. Talking. Softly. Calmly. Like I was having a conversation. Skull the other me. I moved toward the sound slowly. Heart racing. Every step deliberate. The living room lamp flickered slightly. And sitting on my couch was me. Dry. Clean. Wearing different clothes. Holding my phone. Smiling faintly. He looked up at me. No surprise in his eyes. No fear. Just recognition. You shouldn't have gone back tonight, he said calmly. I couldn't breathe. I stared at him. At myself. Water pooled around my shoes. But he remained perfectly dry. What are you? I whispered. He tilted his head slightly. You left. The same words Daniel had said. You left him. I was a kid, I said again. His smile faded. So was he. The room temperature dropped. My wet clothes felt heavier. You survived, he continued. That wasn't supposed to happen. Then what was? He stood up slowly. And I noticed something. His eyes weren't brown like mine. They were black. Solid. Like the figure in the video. Two go in, he said quietly. One stays. And the other? I asked. He stepped closer. So the lake can try again. New moon symbol the truth about the previous tenant. You're not the first, he said. I froze. What? He walked toward the window. Gestured toward the water. The last tenant lasted 19 days. My chest tightened. 19. He started seeing things. Hearing things. Just like you. What happened to him? My double smiled again. He remembered. The room flickered. For a split second. The living room wasn't my living room. It was flooded. Water knee-deep. Walls stained. Ceiling sagging. And floating near the hallway. A body. Face down. Swollen. Then it snapped back to normal. He chose to stay, the other me said. With the lake. With Daniel. My head pounded. You're lying. He shrugged. Go look. File folder the basement. I don't have a basement. At least. I didn't think I did. But when I went to the hallway closet, the loose panel I found the newspaper clipping behind was gone. Instead, there was a small wooden door. Low. Almost hidden. It hadn't been there before. I'm sure of it. The other me watched silently as I opened it. A narrow staircase led downward. Cold air drifted up. Smelling faintly of mildew and lake water. I hesitated. He whispered behind me. You always go down. I grabbed my phone flashlight and descended. Each step creaked loudly. The air grew thicker. Harder to breathe. At the bottom, there was a single room. Concrete walls. Dim bulb hanging from the ceiling. And a table. On the table, stacks of printed emails. Dozens. All with the same subject line. You don't remember drowning. All sent to different names. Different dates. Different years. The earliest one. A year after Daniel died. Next to the papers. A laptop. Old. Water damaged. I opened it. The wallpaper was a paused video. Security footage. The dock. And standing at the edge. The previous tenant. Timestamp. 3:12 a.m. He turned toward the camera. And behind him. Was me. Water waved the recordings. The laptop had folders labeled by year. Every few years. Another person. Another tenant. Another attempt. Each video showed the same pattern. They received the email. They found the dock. They saw Daniel. They were dragged under. And each time, two figures appeared beneath the surface. But when the video ended, only one came back up. The same one. Me. Standing on the dock. Dripping wet. Alive. My stomach twisted violently. I don't remember this, I whispered. The other me appeared at the bottom of the stairs. You're not supposed to. Why me? He stepped into the basement. Lights flickering. Because you were the first to survive. The bulb overhead buzzed loudly. Whatever lives down there, he continued, It needs balance. Balance. 2 in. 1 kept. 1 returned. I stared at him. So what am I? He smiled faintly. You're the return. Realization. Memories started crashing into place. Fragments. After Daniel slipped beneath the surface, something pulled me under too. I remember blackness. I remember hands wrapping around my chest. Then, silence. Peaceful silence. And then, I was coughing on the shoreline. Alone. No one around. No Daniel. I told my parents I slipped. They believed me. The town believed Daniel wandered in alone. No one ever questioned why I was there. Because I never told them. And the lake. Let me leave. But it never forgot. It just waited. Final escalation. The basement began flooding. Not from cracks. Not from pipes. Water seeped through the concrete itself. Rising quickly around my ankles. The laptop sparked. Shut off. The other me didn't move. He just watched. It's time, he said softly. For what? To finish it. The water reached my knees. Cold. Numbing. The walls began shifting. Concrete melting into wood. The basement transforming into the submerged dock I saw underwater. The floating bodies appeared around me again. Eyes open. Watching. Daniel stood directly in front of me. Not puppet-like this time. Still. Calm. Almost sad. You can stay, he said gently. Or you can send someone else back. The other me stepped closer behind me. If you leave again, he whispered. Someone else moves in. The water reached my chest. Pressure building around my ribs. So that's it. I choked. It never ends. Daniel's expression didn't change. It ends when someone chooses to sink. The thing beneath us shifted. Massive. Awake. And I felt it wrap around both my legs. Not violently. Patiently. Waiting for my decision. Cliffhanger ending. The water reached my chin. My double leaned close to my ear. Last chance. Daniel extended his hand. Not pulling. Not pushing. Just offering. Above us. The ceiling disappeared completely. Replaced by black water stretching infinitely upward. I took a breath. Deep. Shaking. And I grabbed Daniel's hand. The creature beneath tightened its grip instantly. And the other me screamed. Not in pain. In anger. Because as the water closed over my head, I saw him being pulled downward instead. Dragged violently beneath the floating bodies. His black eyes wide. Terrified. And just before darkness swallowed me, I heard him shout. You were supposed to stay. Everything went black. Part 4. The thing beneath the lake waterwave 3:12 a.m. The exchange. Darkness didn't feel like drowning this time. It felt suspended. Like I was hanging in thick air. I expected burning lungs. Panic. Desperation. Instead, there was silence. Then light. A dim, greenish glow beneath me. I opened my eyes. I wasn't floating upward. I was standing. On the lake bed. And the water above me wasn't crushing. It was hovering. Like glass. Frozen at the surface. Daniel stood a few feet away. No longer bloated. No longer broken. He looked like a boy again. 14. Scared. You switched places, he said quietly. My chest tightened. Where is he? Daniel looked downward. And that's when I saw it. The creature. Not clearly. Never clearly. Just movement. Too large to comprehend. A shape stretching beyond what my eyes could process. Its limbs weren't solid. They shifted like shadows in deep water. And wrapped within those limbs was the other me. Thrashing. Screaming without sound. You weren't supposed to remember, Daniel whispered. What the lake really is. It isn't just a lake, Daniel said. The water above us trembled slightly. As if reacting. It's older. Older than what? Older than the town. Older than the houses. Older than the road that brought you here. The ground beneath my feet pulsed faintly. Like a heartbeat. It feeds on near death, he continued. On unfinished endings. Cold realization hit me. So when we drowned? Daniel nodded. It took one. Let one go. To try again later. He didn't answer. He didn't have to. Above us, the frozen surface began showing images. Like reflections. The previous tenants. Standing on the dock. Receiving the email. Being pulled under. Coming back changed. That wasn't me, I said. Daniel looked at me carefully. Yes, and no. The creature shifted. The other me screamed silently again. That thing can't leave the water, Daniel said. So it sends back pieces. Copies. The word felt heavy in my mouth. Yes. My heart pounded. So the version of me upstairs was never fully you. The realization felt like falling again. New moon symbol, the cycle is breaking. The creature tightened around the copy. Violently. It wasn't calm anymore. The lake bed cracked beneath us. Water above began moving again. Slow ripples. It's angry, Daniel whispered. Why? Because you chose wrong. Wrong. You didn't sink. The ground split open. The copy of me began dissolving inside the creature's grasp. Not dying. Unraveling. Like something unfinished being erased. Daniel grabbed my arm suddenly. We don't have much time. For what? You broke the balance. The frozen water above shattered. Gravity returned instantly. Water crashed down violently around us. Pressure hit my chest hard. Daniel pulled me upward. We swam. Fast. The creature followed. Massive shadow rising behind us. Faster than before. Angrier. Not patient anymore. Skull surface breach. We exploded through the lake surface at the same time. Gasping. Coughing. The dock was gone. The shoreline was different. Trees taller. House lights farther away. I turned toward my yard. My house was dark. But not abandoned dark. Old dark. Weathered. Paint peeling. Windows broken. What year is it? I whispered. Daniel climbed onto the shore slowly. It doesn't just keep people, he said. It bends time around them. I grabbed my phone from my pocket. It was dry. Which made no sense. The screen lit up. Date. August 12, 2009. My heart stopped. No. The exact night. The original night. This is when it resets, Daniel said. When it tries again. In the distance. I saw two small figures running toward the dock. Two boys. Younger. Laughing nervously. I knew exactly who they were. Because one of them was me. Watching the past. We stood hidden in the tree line. Watching. The younger version of me dared Daniel to step into the water. I remembered this moment. The exact words. The same stupid joke. Bet you won't go deeper. Daniel stepped in first. Ankle deep. Then knee deep. I followed. And then. The water beneath them rippled. The creature. Waiting. You can stop it, Daniel whispered beside me. If you change it, the cycle ends. My throat tightened. But then. I won't drown, he said. And neither will you. The two boys in the water suddenly froze. Like paused video. The creature's shadow hovered beneath them. Waiting for its moment. The lake was giving me a choice. Rewrite it. Or let it happen. Water wave the interruption. Before I could move. Headlights flashed through the trees. A truck. Old. Familiar. It stopped near the dirt road. A man stepped out. Flashlight in hand. Mr. Caldwell. But younger. Much younger. He walked toward the dock. Calling out. Boys. You're not supposed to be down here. Daniel's expression shifted. That's not how it happened. You remember him coming. Daniel shook his head. He never came. The creature beneath the water stirred violently. The timeline was changing. Mr. Caldwell stepped onto the dock. The boys in the water turned toward him. The creature lunged upward suddenly, but something stopped it. Like invisible resistance. It couldn't fully rise. Not while someone else was watching. Daniel grabbed my arm tightly. It doesn't want witnesses. The creature withdrew slightly. Waiting. Calculating. Then, the younger version of me slipped. Just slightly. Daniel reached to grab him. And this time, I saw clearly. It wasn't Daniel pulling me down. It was me pulling him. Trying to stay above the surface. Trying to breathe. The panic. The struggle. The selfish instinct to survive. The creature wrapped around Daniel's legs. And I let go. Again. Because I wanted air. I hashed the truth. Tears blurred my vision. I didn't push him, I whispered. Daniel looked at me gently. You chose yourself. The scene unfroze fully. Mr. Caldwell shouted. Ran toward the dock. But the creature moved faster. Daniel vanished beneath the surface. The younger version of me crawled back onto the dock. Coughing. Alone. Mr. Caldwell reached him seconds too late. The water stilled instantly. The timeline locked. The creature retreated. Satisfied. But something was different now. Because this time, I was watching. The lake surface trembled violently. The sky darkened unnaturally fast. Clouds forming from nowhere. Storm building instantly. The reset was unstable. You weren't supposed to see this, Daniel whispered. The younger version of me looked up. And directly at me. Not through me. At me. His eyes widened in recognition. Fire cliffhanger ending. The younger me stood slowly. Still soaking wet. Still shaking. But his eyes were wrong. Not brown. Black. Solid black. The creature hadn't let him go alone. It sent something back with him. Daniel grabbed my arm tightly. It learned. The younger version of me stepped off the dock. Walking toward the tree line. Toward us. Toward me. And as he approached, the storm above intensified violently. Wind tearing through trees. Water rising behind him. His mouth opened. And in a voice deeper than it should have been, he said, "You were never the one who survived." The ground beneath us split open. And the lake began swallowing the shoreline. Again. Part 5. The town that lets it happen. Water wave. The shoreline collapses. The ground split beneath my feet. Not cracking. Opening. Like something underneath was peeling it back. Water surged forward, swallowing grass, dirt, tree roots. The storm above screamed violently. Wind bending branches sideways. Rain slamming down in sheets. But none of it felt natural. It felt directed. Focused. On me. The younger version of me kept walking forward through the chaos. Unaffected. Eyes black. Expression blank. "You were never the one who survived," he repeated. Daniel pulled me back into the trees. "We have to move." "But that's me." "That's not you anymore." The shoreline disappeared behind us. The dock splintered in half. And beneath the rising water, I saw it clearly for the first time. Not fully, but enough. A spine. Massive. Curving beneath the lake like a buried serpent. Segments pulsing faintly. Each pulse sending ripples outward. The lake wasn't water. It was skin stretched thin over something alive. The reset is failing. We ran through the forest. But the forest wasn't stable. Trees flickered. Shifting between younger and older versions. Some freshly grown. Others dead and rotted. Time overlapping. "Why is it breaking?" I shouted over the wind. Daniel didn't slow down. "Because you interfered." "With what?" "With the original choice." Lightning struck close behind us. The sound wasn't thunder. It was deeper. Like something roaring beneath the earth. We burst through the tree line. And onto the dirt road. Except it wasn't the dirt road I knew. It was older. No pavement. No power lines. Just gravel and darkness. And parked beside it, Mr. Caldwell's truck. 2009 version. Engine still running. Headlights cutting through rain. He stepped out slowly. Flashlight shaking in his hand. But when he saw us, he didn't look confused. He looked terrified. "You weren't supposed to remember," he said. Same words. Different year. Skull Mr. Caldwell knows. Daniel froze. "You told him?" I whispered. Daniel's silence answered me. Caldwell stepped closer. Rain soaking through his jacket. "It's trying to fix it," he said, staring at me. "It doesn't like loose ends." "You know what it is?" I demanded. He shook his head slowly. "No one knows what it is. We only know what it does." The storm intensified. The younger black-eyed version of me stepped onto the road behind us. Caldwell's flashlight flickered when it touched him. Like the light didn't want to land. "You have to let it finish," Caldwell said. "Finish what?" "The exchange." Daniel stepped forward. "You said you wanted it to stop." Caldwell's face twisted with something like guilt. "I did. But every time someone interferes, it spreads." Lightning cracked again. The ground trembled violently. The lake roared behind us, spreading beyond its banks, flooding the road. "Spreads how?" I shouted. Caldwell swallowed. "It won't stay in the water." New moon symbol, the first spread. The floodwater reached our feet. Cold. But not just water. Something moving inside it. Thin tendrils brushing against my ankles. The black-eyed version of me stepped closer. Perfectly dry. Untouched by rain. "It needs balance," Caldwell said quickly. "One taken. One returned." I returned. I yelled. "No," Daniel whispered. I turned toward him. "What?" "You never came back alone." My stomach dropped. Caldwell's flashlight flickered toward me now. And for a split second, I saw it. Something faint beneath my skin. Like veins moving on their own. Like ripples under flesh. "No," I whispered. The younger version of me smiled slightly. "You're not the survivor," he said softly. "You're the door." The realization. Every time I came back to the lake. Every time I returned as a tenant. Every time the email was sent. It wasn't random. It was me. Not consciously. But something inside me. Calling others back. Recreating the cycle. The thing beneath the lake couldn't leave. But part of it could. Attached to me. Waiting. Dormant. Until I got close enough again. Daniel stepped back slowly from me. "You feel it, don't you?" The water around my feet began rising faster. Reacting. Pulsing in rhythm with my heartbeat. Caldwell looked devastated. "We tried burning it," he said. "Burning what?" "The dock. The shoreline. The records. Everything." Lightning flashed across the lake. And for one terrifying second, I saw shapes moving beneath the water beyond the original creature. Smaller. Breaking off. Spreading outward. Like infection. "It's growing," Caldwell whispered. "Waterwave, the town's secret." "The town knows," Caldwell admitted. "We've always known." About the drownings. About the pattern. Every few years. New tenant. New incident. Official report always the same. Accident. Alcohol. Sleepwalking. Never suspicious. Never investigated deeply. Because the lake stayed contained. As long as the exchange happened. As long as one stayed. And one returned. "We thought if we kept it quiet," Caldwell said, voice shaking, "it would stay here." The black-eyed version of me stepped closer. "You shouldn't have shown him," it said to Daniel. Its voice was layered. Mine. And something deeper beneath it. Daniel's expression hardened. He deserved to know. The creature's influence surged violently through my body. I dropped to my knees. Pain exploding behind my eyes. Memories overlapping. Multiple tenants. Multiple drownings. Multiple resets. All anchored to me. Not because I survived. But because I was marked. Chosen. The first fracture in the cycle. Fire, the creature speaks. The water rose to our waists. Caldwell backed toward his truck. "It's deciding," he whispered. "Deciding what?" I gasped. Whether to take you, or use you. The black-eyed version of me stopped moving. Its body began distorting slightly, edges blurring, like it was shedding the human form. You cannot end what feeds you, it said. The voice was no longer just in my head. It vibrated through the water, through the storm, through the air itself. Daniel grabbed my shoulders. Listen to me. If it spreads beyond the lake, it won't need balance anymore. I looked toward the rising floodwater creeping down the road, toward the distant lights of town flickering in the storm. It wasn't just about me anymore. It was about containment. The creature inside me pulsed again. Stronger. Hungry. Cliffhanger ending. The black-eyed version of me suddenly lunged forward. Not at Daniel. At Caldwell. Faster than human. Water exploded upward as it struck him. Caldwell screamed as something dragged him backward into the rising flood. Daniel tried to grab him, but a massive surge of water knocked us both down. I saw Caldwell disappear beneath the surface of the road. The creature's spine beneath the lake arched violently, as if satisfied. The storm stopped instantly. Total silence. Water froze mid-motion around us. Suspended. The black-eyed version of me stood upright again. Calm. It looked directly at me. You will bring them, it said softly. One by one. Behind it, the lake began expanding beyond its banks, spreading slowly toward town. And Daniel whispered in horror. It's not resetting. The water around my chest tightened. And I realized. The cycle wasn't starting over this time. It was moving forward. Part 6. When the lake crossed the road, water wave, the water doesn't recede. The storm was gone. No thunder. No wind. Just silence. The water remained suspended for 3 long seconds. Then it dropped all at once. Not back into the lake. Forward. Toward town. Daniel grabbed my arm. It's never done that before. The flood rolled past us like a slow-moving wall. Not violent. Not chaotic. Purposeful. Streetlights in the distance flickered out one by one as the water reached them. Like someone flipping switches. Caldwell was gone. No bubbles. No body. No sign he had ever been there. Only tire tracks leading nowhere. The black-eyed version of me stood in the middle of the road, watching the water spread. Then it turned toward me. You feel it now, it said calmly. And I did. Something inside my chest was responding to the lake. Not resisting. Synchronizing. Every pulse beneath the water matched my heartbeat exactly. Daniel stepped back from me. You're connected to it. I don't want to be. That doesn't matter. The water touched the first house at the edge of town, and the lights inside shut off instantly. New moon symbol 3:12 a.m. The first disappearance. We ran toward town. I don't know why. Instinct, maybe. Or guilt. The streets were empty. Front doors open. Cars abandoned mid-driveway. Water creeping across asphalt in shallow sheets. It wasn't deep enough to drown anyone. That wasn't the point. We reached the corner house first. Front door swinging slowly. Inside. TV still on. Static. Couch cushions soaked. No people. No struggle. Just absence. Daniel moved toward the kitchen. Listen. At first, I heard nothing. Then, faint dripping. Not from the ceiling. From inside the walls. The water wasn't flooding the town. It was entering it. Through pipes. Through drains. Through sinks and bathtubs. Through anything connected to water. We both heard a scream. Upstairs. Short. Cut off fast. We ran up. Bedroom door wide open. Window closed. Bed soaked. And in the center of the mattress. A wet outline of a human body. But no body. Gone. I looked at my phone. 3:12 a.m. Exactly. Skull. It doesn't need the dock anymore. It doesn't need the lake, Daniel whispered. The realization hit me hard. The dock was symbolic. A gateway. But water exists everywhere. Pipes. Reservoirs. Storm drains. Faucets. The creature didn't need people to step into the lake anymore. It just needed access. And I had given it that. By breaking the exchange. By choosing Daniel. By interfering. Another scream echoed from farther down the street. Then another. Then silence again. Lights flickered house by house. Each flicker followed by quiet. The black-eyed version of me appeared at the end of the street. Walking slowly. Dry. Unaffected. You opened the door, it said. I felt pressure in my skull. Memories pushing forward. Images of every tenant. Every drowning. Every reset. It had been practicing. Learning. And I had been the anchor. The carrier. The piece of it that could walk on land. Daniel grabbed my face suddenly. You have to disconnect. How? He didn't answer immediately. Because we both knew. There was only one way. The anchor. I dropped to my knees in the flooded street. Water swirling around my hands. I could feel it responding to me. Like muscle waiting for instruction. Tell it to stop, Daniel said. I don't control it. You're part of it. The black-eyed version of me stopped 10 feet away. Expression calm. You are not separate, it said gently. The water rose around my waist. Not drowning. Just holding. Every drop humming faintly. The pressure in my chest intensified. Like something trying to push outward. Daniel stepped back. Real fear in his eyes now. If you don't sever it, it won't stop. How do I sever it? His voice cracked. You sink. The word hung in the air. Heavy. Final. If I went under willingly. If I chose to stay. No exchange. No return. No anchor on land. The cycle wouldn't reset. It would collapse. The black-eyed version of me tilted its head. You are necessary. Not anymore, Daniel whispered. Water wave the creature manifests. The water around us began rising rapidly now. Higher than before. Windows shattering as pressure built from inside houses. Manhole covers bursting upward. Fire hydrants snapping loose. A massive surge rolled down the main street. And beneath it, I saw the spine again. Longer. Extending beneath the town now. Not confined to the lake. The creature was stretching. Testing boundaries. The black-eyed version of me began distorting. Its limbs elongating. Skin flickering between solid and liquid. It wasn't fully formed. Not yet. But it was trying. And it needed me stable. Alive. Connected. You belong to the water, it said. My lungs tightened. Like they were already filling. Daniel stepped in front of me. You don't own him. The creature's gaze shifted to Daniel. And for the first time, it showed irritation. A sudden surge knocked Daniel backward into a flooded storefront. Glass exploded. He vanished under the water. Daniel! I shouted. The black-eyed version of me smiled faintly. You can't save both worlds. Fire decision. Water reached my shoulders. Cold wrapping around my throat. Every house on the street now silent. No lights. No voices. Just rising water. The creature's spine arched beneath the pavement. Cracks splitting the road open. If I did nothing, it would keep spreading. If I chose myself again, like I did in 2009, it would win. The black-eyed version of me leaned closer. Survival is natural. My vision blurred. Memories replayed. Daniel's hand slipping from mine. My own desperate grip. The choice. Self over someone else. Again. No. Not this time. I closed my eyes. And let myself fall backward into the water. Cliffhanger ending. The water swallowed me instantly. No struggle. No panic. Just descent. The town blurred above me. Streetlights fading. Buildings dissolving. As I sank, the black-eyed version of me screamed. Not in anger. In fear. Because the spine beneath the town began retracting violently. Pulled backward. Toward the lake. The floodwater reversed direction. Rushing away from houses. Drains sucking it downward. The creature howled through the pipes. Through the streets. Through the earth. And as darkness closed around me, I saw Daniel. floating nearby, reaching toward me. The last thing I heard before everything went black was his voice. "It's not done with you yet." And far above, something enormous began rising from the center of Blackridge Lake. Part 7. What rose from Blackridge Lake water wave I thought sinking would end it. I was wrong. When I let myself fall backward into the floodwater, I expected silence, oblivion, maybe peace. Instead, I felt myself pass through something, like falling through a membrane. The pressure vanished instantly. The cold vanished. I wasn't drowning. I was standing on the surface of the lake. But the lake was no longer flat. It was bulging upward in the center, swelling. Like something beneath it was pushing against skin too thin to contain it. The sky above was wrong. No stars. No moon. Just heavy, rotating clouds circling directly over Blackridge Lake. And rising slowly from the center was the creature. Not fully solid. Not fully liquid. A towering column of intertwined limbs and bone-like ridges. Its spine arched vertically now, breaking through the surface. Water cascaded off it in sheets. It was trying to exist in air. And it was screaming. Not with sound. With pressure. Every house in town groaned in response. Windows shattered. Car alarms triggered in unison. The earth vibrated. And then I saw Daniel beside me, standing on the surface too. "This is what happens when balance collapses," he said quietly. "Scull the creature without an anchor." The black-eyed version of me was gone. Not destroyed. Not dead. Reabsorbed. When I chose to sink, it lost its stable form. Now the creature was unstable. Half in water, half in air, and tearing itself apart trying to hold shape. It wasn't meant to manifest fully. It was meant to operate through exchange. Through cycles. Through copies. Now it had no anchor. And no control. The towering shape twisted violently. Sections of it dissolving into heavy rain that fell upward instead of down. Its limbs struck the lake surface, creating waves that moved in slow motion. The town lights flickered back on briefly. Then off again. Daniel looked at me. "You didn't sever it." My stomach dropped. "What?" "You didn't break the connection." I looked down at my hands. Faint dark lines pulsed beneath my skin. Still there. Still synced. "It's not using you to leave anymore," Daniel said. "It's using you to stay." New moon symbol the real purpose. "Why me?" I demanded. "Why not someone else?" Daniel's expression was calm now. Almost sad. "Because you survived twice." The words didn't make sense at first. "Twice? You think 2009 was the first time?" The air around us rippled. The surface beneath our feet showed reflections. Not of us, but of older scenes. Older drownings. Different decades. Different children. Different versions of me. Always near the water. Always surviving when someone else didn't. Always forgetting. My mind fractured under the weight of it. "You weren't chosen randomly," Daniel whispered. "You're a fracture." "A fracture of what?" "The boundary." The creature roared again. And this time, I understood it. Not language. Not words. Hunger. It didn't want bodies. It wanted access. Water connects everything. Lakes. Rivers. Rain. Pipes. Oceans. It had been trapped here. Contained in Blackridge Lake. And every time someone survived drowning, it tested the boundary between water and air. Between life and death. Between worlds. And I kept surviving. Which made the boundary weaker. The town was never the target. Sirens echoed faintly in the distance. Emergency vehicles trying to reach the flooded outskirts. But they would never understand what they were responding to. This wasn't a natural disaster. It was a pressure release. The lake bulged higher. The creature's upper half stretching into the sky. If it fully stabilized. If it anchored itself without needing an exchange. It wouldn't stay in this town. It would follow rivers. Drainage systems. Storm systems. Daniel looked at me. "If it stabilizes tonight, It won't need balance ever again. The implications hit hard. It wouldn't need 2 in, 1 out. It wouldn't need resets. It would just take anywhere water exists, which is everywhere. The creature's spine extended again. And this time it didn't collapse. It held. For 3 full seconds. The clouds above spiraled tighter. Water wave the last exchange. There's still one rule it can't break, Daniel said suddenly. What rule? It can't cross fully without an equal exchange. But you said the cycle collapsed. It did. He stepped closer to me. But it still needs 2 forces. Cold understanding formed slowly. If one sinks willingly. Daniel nodded. And one rises willingly. My chest tightened. No. His expression didn't change. You survived because I didn't let go fast enough. That's not true. It is. He stepped closer. The lake's surface trembling beneath us. I held on, he said softly. Longer than I should have. The creature's spine cracked loudly behind us. Portions of it stabilizing. Hardening. It was learning to hold form without me. We have to complete the exchange properly, Daniel said. You sink, he continued. I rise. No, I said again. You don't get to choose that. You already did. In 2009. The memory struck like lightning. Daniel's hand gripping mine underwater. Not pulling me down. Holding me up. Keeping me afloat. He wasn't dragging me. He was saving me. And when the creature wrapped around him, he pushed me upward. I survived because he let go. Not because I fought harder. The guilt was unbearable. Fire the creature notices. The towering shape paused. Its attention shifted. Toward us. It felt the imbalance correcting. It began moving toward us across the lake surface. Not swimming. Sliding. Massive limbs reaching. If it grabbed Daniel before we chose, it would twist the exchange again. Keep control. Daniel grabbed my shoulders. Listen carefully. Water began rising around his feet. You have to stay alive after this. I don't want to. You have to. The creature's limb slammed down beside us. The shockwave nearly knocked us apart. The sky above split briefly, revealing not stars, but darkness deeper than space. The boundary was thinning. Daniel leaned closer. This time, you don't come back. I shook my head violently. You don't get to sacrifice yourself again. It's not sacrifice. The water wrapped gently around his waist. It's correction. Cliffhanger ending. The creature lunged. A massive limb shot toward us. Daniel pushed me backward hard. And stepped forward into the water willingly. The lake swallowed him instantly. But this time, the creature didn't grab him. It recoiled. As if burned. The spine above cracked violently. Pieces collapsing inward. The towering form destabilizing. Water rushed back toward the center of the lake. The sky above sealed shut. But before everything collapsed, I saw Daniel beneath the surface. Not sinking. Not trapped. Standing upright. Glowing faintly. And the creature was shrinking around him. Like it was being pulled inward. Contained. The last thing I heard before the lake's surface flattened completely was his voice inside my head. Now you live. The water went still. The storm clouds vanished. Sirens continued faintly in the distance. And I stood alone on the calm surface of Blackridge Lake. But I wasn't alone for long. Because behind me, footsteps splashed softly. And a familiar voice whispered. You still belong to the water. Part 8, 3:12 Water wave the voice behind me. The lake was calm. Perfectly calm. Too calm. No storm. No rising spine. No swirling sky. Just flat black water stretching in every direction. And behind me, footsteps. Soft. Slow. Splashing. You still belong to the water. The voice sounded like mine. But not the copy. Not the black-eyed version. This one sounded tired. Older. I turned slowly. Standing a few feet away. Was me. Not soaked. Not distorted. Not shadowed. Just me. But with faint lines beneath the skin. Like something moving quietly underneath. You thought it was over, he said. I watched him sink, I whispered. The creature collapsed. He nodded once. It collapsed here. The word hit wrong. Here. He gestured toward the lake. Blackridge was containment. Cold spread through my chest. You're lying. He tilted his head. Do you know how many lakes exist? The silence that followed was heavier than any storm. What Daniel really did. He didn't destroy it, the other me continued. He compressed it. Into what? His eyes shifted slightly toward me. My pulse quickened. No. When Daniel completed the exchange properly, he said calmly. He sealed it. Sealed it where? He stepped closer, and the faint lines beneath his skin pulsed. In the only place strong enough to hold it. My breathing became shallow. You. The lake surface rippled slightly around my feet. Not violently. Just acknowledgement. It can't spread through pipes now, he said. It can't stretch through rivers. A pause. Unless you let it. New moon symbol, the real anchor. Every memory replayed at once. Every tenant. Every reset. Every drowning. Every survival. Not tests. Preparations. It wasn't trying to leave through water systems. It was trying to refine a host. A stable boundary walker. Someone who could exist in both states. Alive. And claimed. You were never a mistake, he said. You were design. The weight of it crushed me. Daniel hadn't saved the town. He had relocated the containment. Into me. I dropped to my knees on the lake surface. The water didn't swallow me. It held. Like glass. I don't want this. It doesn't care. The faintest ripple spread outward from where I knelt. Across the entire lake. Skull the town remains. In the distance. Sirens stopped. Lights flickered back on. The flood was gone. Houses intact. People confused but alive. News reports would blame a freak flash flood. Electrical failures. Pipe bursts. Caldwell's disappearance would be listed as tragic. Unrelated. Everything would normalize. Blackridge Lake would be declared safe. Reopened by summer. Boats. Fishing. Children swimming near the docks again. And every time someone stepped into the water, I would feel it. Because it wasn't under the lake anymore. It was under my skin. Waterwave, the last conversation. What are you? I asked the other me. He didn't hesitate. I'm what you would have become if you refused the final exchange. The words sank in slowly. You're still connected. Yes. Can you leave the lake? He smiled faintly. Watch. He stepped backward. And instead of sinking, he walked across the water. Toward shore. Each step leaving faint ripples. He reached the dock. Placed his hand on the wood. Nothing happened. He turned back toward me. It doesn't need the lake anymore. My stomach twisted. It just needs you alive. The 3:12 pattern. I checked my phone. Time. 3:11 a.m. A full circle. Why 3:12? I whispered. The other me paused. Because that was the moment you let go. The second Daniel's fingers slipped from mine. The second I chose air over him. That second anchored the cycle. And now, that second belonged to me forever. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Email notification. Subject line. You don't remember drowning. My blood ran cold. I already opened that, I said. The other Ms. smile widened slightly. Not this one. Fire the twist. I opened the email slowly. Attached file. Video. Timestamp. 3:12 a.m. tonight. The footage wasn't from the dock. It wasn't from the shoreline. It wasn't from Blackridge at all. It was from inside a house. Different architecture. Different street. Different town. The camera faced a bathroom sink. Water running slowly from the faucet. A man stood staring at his reflection. Confused. Tired. Alone. The sink began filling. Without the drain closing, the water level rose unnaturally fast. The man backed away in fear. The mirror fogged instantly. And written in condensation, "Come back." The man turned toward the hallway. And the camera angle shifted slightly, revealing the footage was being filmed. From behind him. From the bathtub. Submerged. Watching. I dropped the phone. "That's not here," I whispered. The other me shook his head. "No." The lake surface beneath us trembled faintly. "It's learning." Daniel compressed it. Contained it. But containment doesn't mean death. It means patience. The other Ms. body flickered slightly. Edges blurring. "Every drowning," he said quietly, "is a door. And I'm what? The key." Final 3:12 a.m. shock. My phone buzzed again. Another message. From the same unknown sender. A single line. "He's standing behind you." The air around me went cold instantly. I didn't want to turn around. I didn't need to. Because I could already hear it. Soft. Wet. Breathing. Right behind my left ear. The lake surface rippled outward in perfect circles. 3:12 a.m. Exactly. The other me faded slowly. Not disappearing. Merging. Into me. The faint lines beneath my skin darkened. Spreading. Stabilizing. The breathing behind me stopped. And a voice, deep, layered, endless, spoke inside my skull. "You will not drown again." A long pause. "You will open the door." The lake went completely still. In the distance, somewhere far beyond Blackridge, a faucet turned on by itself. And I finally understood something worse than drowning. I wasn't the survivor. I wasn't the victim. I wasn't even the anchor. I was the shoreline. And the water was coming.